Welcome back, guys. This is Gaming with Austin, and today we're on episode 16 of season 1 of the Utopian community series. It's loading up right now. I heard that Fortnite is gonna go on Android, but only for the Samsung phones for right now. Based on CNET news, it runs as you'd expect. And yesterday, I started planting those beetroots. And now we're gonna finish. This is gonna be too long of a video to finish the entire thing all up. I don't want it too long, because I like to have time for other stuff too. Like eating dinner. And all sorts of stuff. Watch some funny videos. Stuff like that. If I start monetizing the videos, I'm gonna do it so I could help the poor. I donate most of it to charity, so I can help kids that are sick. That'd be nice. But Bill Gates can do that. Bill Gates does that too. Bill and Melinda Gates does that too. Make good use for. If you have a lot of money, make good use for it. Don't just spend all of it on your luxuries, like super high-end gaming rigs, majestic mansions, stuff like that. Don't just spend your money on stuff like that. Use that to help people who need it the most. Like kids with cancer. Or people with disabilities. Or funeral expenses. Just to name a few. Stuff like that. Because our goal is to help provide for the common good of the people. This would be a giant farm, in both height and width. For a future Minecraft update, we need to increase the height limit to 512 blocks high, so people could build bigger structures and have fun. But the main problem with that is really large structures like that is going to require a really powerful computer. Just like the amplified mode in Minecraft. It requires a powerful computer. And a powerful computer is important if you want to render graphically intensive, or computationally intensive media. Like most video games with the most amount of realism to them. You shouldn't just use your money for yourself. You shouldn't just do that. You shouldn't just do that. Because that's being greedy. Which is what Jeff Bezos is. A lot of the Amazon workers, they bust their asses just to make around $10 an hour. What if we had restaurants which the people, the customers themselves, cook the food? That'd be great. Just like I know how to make homemade French fries, which is good. But I'm not going to be buying any beef anytime soon. Or maybe never. As you know, I do not eat meat. Nor gelatin, nor collagen. I'm doing this for the greater good of the environment. And also for the greater good of the animals, too. Because animals that are farmed for our food, a lot of times they go through a lot of pain. This is just sad. We shouldn't be abusing our animals at all. In the capitalist country, the bourgeoisie, they use everything they can for profit. Yes, including animals. For some businesses. For some, they use slave labor, which is not fair. It ain't fair for any of us. To have slave labor. It ain't fair for us. If no job wants to hire me, I'd rather work on a farm. Any food I have left over after the harvest, I'd give it to the homeless. I'd give that food to the homeless. If I was given a burger, I'm not gonna eat it. I'm gonna give it to a guy who is begging just to stay alive. I'd give it to a beggar. Someone in the if it was the Middle East, I'd give that food to a beggar. I'd start basically, I know there's a risk involved for me, but for them, it's gonna do them better. Plus, I don't eat a lot to begin with. I used to. Which drove me into being a diabetic, which caused me to develop diabetes. There was this one point where it was so bad, I almost went into insulin shock. I don't have it anymore. For now. But there are other risk factors of diabetes you cannot control. Like age. Just like one of my great-grandmothers had diabetes. She ended up dying from complications of it. Like heart failure. If you want to live a healthy life, a long, healthy life, have your heart go for quarterly checkups. You should go for quarterly checkups. Like every 3 months to check your heart. To make sure there's no clotting. When there's a blood clot, it's best to have it treated right away, before it turns into pain. Just like my dad suffered a heart attack when I was in middle school. I graduated from high school. 4 years since my dad suffered a heart attack. Yes. The reason for this farm? To make sure everybody has some organic food. Just because when it goes to organic food, just because it says cage-free does not mean... just... Mom? I'm upstairs making a gaming video right now. Mom. Back to where I was at. While my pizza's getting ready to be cooked. With this, look how far I'm going now. And compassion is the most important thing. If we want to fight capitalism, if everything fails, if we want to fight capitalism, because capitalism is doing more harm to society than good. Because to prove that, there are people out there in different countries that are busting their asses just to make a living, but they make almost no money. Which is unfair. This is what happens when a country when there is a capitalist country. It's time for capitalism to end. Because some of the bourgeoisie who make so much money, they make all that money by exploiting animals for food in cramped conditions similar to that of the Holocaust. All because they want to make as much money as they want to. It's all because of profits. It's time they need to stop breeding animals like that. Look at the dairy cows. They want you to believe they are milked by hand. Most of them, they're not. They are forcibly impregnated. Calves are taken away from them. They milk the crap out of them until they start bleeding. They do the same. They forcibly impregnate again when the milk starts running low. No, I'm not trying to offend any of y'all. This may make you want to pour out your milk. Because how the milk is produced, the first order of business in the dairy industry is to find a cow. Forcibly impregnate them. Milk that cow. Once she gives birth, snatch that calf away from them. Keep milking, and once the milk runs low... Charles? Once I'm done. Okay. Would you put my pizza back in the freezer, Charles? I had to have a friend of my mom's boyfriend put the pizza back in the freezer. Anyway. Once the milk starts running low, they forcibly impregnate the cow again. The process repeats all over again. They need to stop doing that. Cattle families are torn apart by the dairy industry. The calves, they end up being sold for veal, which is a byproduct of the dairy industry. This is just the meat industry is one of the most abusive industries. The only way to stop the meat industry is for everybody to go vegetarian. If you're gonna buy eggs, the best thing to do is buy local. Don't go to a grocery store for your eggs, because chances are those eggs come from factory farms and battery cages. How'd you like it if you were crammed into a battery cage? You gave birth in that battery cage every 9 months just to have your baby taken away from you. How'd you like that? You wouldn't. This is just terrible. Your best bet is to go vegan. If you want to stop supporting the cruel industries. In fact, some people actually have farmed animals as pets too. Some have pet chickens too. Chickens don't belong on our plate, especially when they're dead. The meat industry is wasteful. They're greedy. All they care about is money. Which is why I don't eat meat anymore. This is just sad. And abusive. Horrible. How'd you like it if you were in those conditions like that? You wouldn't. Because look at those prison camps in Nazi Germany. Look at those prison camps of Nazi Germany. Conditions there are so horrendous. No one would describe it. I wouldn't even describe it. I wouldn't fucking describe it. Sorry about... excuse the language. This is just horrible. Pigs are packed into gestation crates when they're pregnant. Once they give birth to piglets, they're castrated. The male piglets are castrated with no painkillers whatsoever. They scream in pain as their mothers are helpless. They scream in pain. Unwanted pigs are killed by thumping, which is slamming them to the ground head first. With the cattle, they are raised in crowded sheds. Imagine being born that same day you're born. They already set out your death penalty. They already set out your execution date the same day you were born. That's what the meat industry is like. This is sad. And a couple days later, once you reach market weight, the execution is carried out at a slaughterhouse, which is a hellhole. It smells really bad. If you want to go in, it's gonna smell awful in a slaughterhouse. Dead bodies piling up. If the factory farming stops, we would stop slaughtering animals. En masse. Now, eventually, if meat demand was super high, they'd end up building a gas chamber in the slaughterhouse, pumped up full of carbon dioxide. It's not fun if you're a farm animal, destined for slaughter. They deserve justice just like we do. They have the right to live just like we do. We need to stop slaughtering our animals like that. Instead, the best thing to do is be compassionate. Go for a humane, healthy vegetarian diet. That's your best bet to ending their suffering. That's your best bet to ending their suffering. No animal has to live like that. With animal hunting, the animal does not die that quickly. They want you to believe that, but really they don't die that quickly. They end up going into several minutes of agony before finally succumbing to their injuries. Even if you shoot them in the head. Even if you shoot them in the head, they'll go through a couple minutes of agony before they finally die. Which is why I don't want to buy a hunting rifle. Ever. Because those animals, they deserve to be left alone. They want you to believe, with the rodeo and bullfighting, they want you to believe bulls are vicious. The truth is, they're not. Naturally, they're not. They're not vicious at all. They're peaceful, just like every other animal. We farm. This is what makes the bucking bulls so vicious. Them spurs that the rodeo people wear. People wear when they ride the bull. This is not funny. This is not entertainment. This is abuse. Your best bet to stopping all forms of animal cruelty. Don't watch a bullfighting. Don't go to a bull ring. Don't ever go to a rodeo. I agree with Gary Yourofsky on that. Did you hear that the Galaxy Note 9 is already coming out soon? Let's hope it does not suffer the same fate of the Galaxy Note 7. Like the 8? Because, you know, with the Galaxy Note 8, it did not suffer the same fate as the 7. They ended up refurbishing it into the fan edition. Did you know that the meat industry is the biggest polluter of water now? And the largest contributor to man-made global warming? There is nothing wrong with chickens having their periods. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way we treat our chickens in the egg industry is horrible. We need more humane ways of raising chickens for eggs. Free range means it doesn't mean that they're they want you to believe that the chickens are roaming out on the fields. They're not. They're crammed into filthy sheds, just like the chickens used for meat. Free range is a scam. Cage free is a scam. The meat industry needs to tell people the truth. This is just unfair. This is sad. Our chickens are being beaten up for no reason at all. They just want to be left alone. Just like the other animals. The bulls out on the fields, they're not vicious at all. But the bulls on factory farms, they tend to get pretty vicious because of the cramped conditions. This is just horrible. The abuse must stop. The only way to stop that abuse is if we reduce our meat consumption. Excuse me. Is if we reduce our meat consumption. They just want to be left alone. We need to stop exploiting them for meat. Chickens have their periods for the same reasons we do. Especially females. I'm not trying to offend any of you out there, but this is true. The hens have their periods just like women do, just like bitches do. Yes, I'm referring to female dogs. Yes, I was using that to refer to a female dog. I'm not trying to offend any of y'all. I'm not trying to offend y'all. But the actual definition of a bitch is a female dog. Or a female canine. That's the actual definition of a bitch. I'm not trying to offend any of y'all out there. I'm not trying to offend y'all. That's not my plan. I'm not trying to offend any of y'all. Back to the game. Look at the progress I'm making. On this farm. For the house, the insulation would be hemp. For the houses, we'll insulate the house, hemp. Yes, I said that right, hemp. Which is used for... Hemp is grown from cannabis, just like marijuana. Marijuana has a lot of health benefits, to begin with. Marijuana has never caused death out of any of the controlled substances. The only people that would end up dying from marijuana are those with severe allergy to it. Like severe anaphylactic shock. From just touching marijuana. If you're gonna touch marijuana as a cop, wear gloves. Because there are people out there that are allergic to it. Our best bet to eliminating the risk of COPD, don't be smoking around your kids, because it'll put them at risk too. Your best bet, ditch the cigarettes. Ditch the cigarettes. Just like before, because remember what happened to Terry Hall after she smoked too many cigarettes. She ended up dying. Ultimately. Which is horrible. That's the face of smoking right there. Once I do this, I'll conclude the video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked this video. Dislike if you disliked it. Subs if you loved it. Click on the bell icon to be notified for more. Share to help my channel. Thank you for watching. As always, peace.